Hey everyone, and welcome back. Today, we are going to be diving into real estate.
Oh, yeah.
Investing.
I love it.
Not the flip it and forget kind of stuff, but like longer term,
Yeah, more strategic.
Yeah, exactly. And, it's interesting because we were looking at some sources about this earlier.
Yeah.
And they were talking about how it's really about real estate as a tangible asset.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I think that's something that...
Oh, that was interesting.
Yeah, a lot of people overlook that key difference, right? Like, when you're investing in real estate, you're investing in something real, something you can see and touch.
It's not just like numbers on a screen.
Exactly. Exactly. It's not like stocks or bonds where it's just, kind of this abstract thing.
Yeah, for sure.
This is real, this is tangible, and that changes the game completely.
So, okay, I like how you put that. So we're talking about tangible assets, right? And there are a couple different ways to, I guess, utilize that, right?
Right. So you've got your rental income, which is kind of like building yourself a steady paycheck from your properties.
Oh, okay.
And then you've got capital appreciation, which is all about those properties increasing in value over time.
And they're both like long game kind of things?
Exactly. It's a long game, but both can be incredibly rewarding.
So it's not just about flipping houses. It's about...
No, not at all.
Really understanding...
Yeah, it's a different
market and picking the right, I guess.
Absolutely. And that's where that golden rule of real estate comes in.
Okay.
Location, location, location.
I was going to say it.
It's not just a catchy phrase. It's crucial for both of these approaches.
Because a good location, it's going to attract renters.
Absolutely.
But it's also going to be more desirable to, like, if you're going to sell it later. Right?
Exactly. And it's interesting. One of the sources we were looking at actually cited a study that found properties near public transportation lines saw, get this, as much as a 15% higher rental income compared to similar properties further away. That's huge.
Just from being near public transit.
That's the power of location.
Wow.
It's all about convenience, accessibility.
Okay, so public transit, that's a big one.
Big one.
What else? What else makes a location really desirable?
Well, think about what people are looking for, right? Good schools.
Okay.
Job opportunities, maybe a thriving local scene, like you said earlier, those coffee shops.
Yeah.
It's about tapping into those areas with high demand, because that demand influences both your rental rates and the property's overall value.
That makes sense, yeah.
It's all connected.
Okay, so now say somebody's out there and they're like, okay, I want to be a landlord.
Yeah.
That sounds kind of fun. Get that passive income.
Right.
What are some things that they really need to keep in mind?
Mindset. Got to shift that mindset.
Yeah.
You're not just collecting rent, you're running a business.
It's a business.
It's a business.
Okay.
So, forget those paint swatches.
It's not just about making it look cute, right?
It's about the numbers.
Yeah.
Our source really emphasized crunching the numbers, and I cannot stress that enough. You need to calculate that potential income, of course, but more importantly, understand your expenses.
Because you don't want to be caught holding the bag if something breaks.
Exactly. And things will break. That's the joy of being a landlord.
Right. So, like, what kind of expenses are we even talking about here?
Well, you've got the obvious ones, right? Mortgage payments, got to make those.
Right.
Property taxes, nobody likes them, but they're there.
Right.
Insurance, got to protect your investment.
Right.
Then there's the ongoing stuff, maintenance, repairs.
Okay.
Leaky faucet here, broken appliance there. It adds up.
It's a lifestyle. Being a landlord, it's a lifestyle. That's why they say that.
It can be, for sure. And, one thing people often forget is vacancies.
Oh, right. Because if you don't have a tenant...
You're losing money.
You're not making money.
Exactly. Yep. That's why finding those reliable tenants is absolutely critical.
And how do you do that?
Thorough background checks, credit checks, just like our source emphasized.
It's so important. I've got a friend who, he rented out a property one time. And, oh my God, let's just say he learned the hard way.
Oh, no.
About tenant screening.
Yeah. You don't want to learn the hard way.
It did not go well. It did not go well at all.
It's always better to learn from other people's mistakes, right?
Oh, yeah, 100%. Especially when it comes to your money.
Especially your investments, yeah.
Okay, so we've talked about rental income. We've talked about the importance of location. We've talked about being prepared for those expenses and screening your tenants.
It's a lot to consider.
It is a lot to consider.
But that's just one side of the coin.
Right, because we haven't even touched on that capital appreciation yet.
Exactly. The other side of the real estate game.
Oh.
Which is a whole different ball game. Right?
Okay, so less about that steady income from renters, more about waiting for the property value to go up and then cashing in.
Yeah, you could say that it's about timing the market, riding those waves of increasing property values.
So it's kind of like, I don't know, the stock market almost. But instead of buying a tiny piece of a company...
You're buying a piece of land, the building on it.
Right. And just like the stock market.
It has its ups and downs.
There's risk involved.
Absolutely. Your source had a good point about economic downturns. They can really shake things up.
Well, yeah, like '08, the housing crisis, right?
Exactly. Even though it's a tangible asset.
You can't just ignore those big economic forces.
Nope. They affect everything in the end. And just like with stocks, there's that element of, I guess, speculation.
Oh, interesting.
You're kind of betting on the future. Will this area be desirable down the line?
So, like, if I'm driving through a neighborhood and I see a bunch of those for sale signs turning into sold signs, maybe some new construction.
Could be a good sign. Could be.
People are putting their money there, right?
But you got to look deeper. Why are they building? Is it sustainable or is it,
a fad?
Exactly. Our source, this case study, small town, property values went through the roof. Rumors of a big tech company moving in, investors went crazy.
Oh, no.
But then the company went with a different location, market crashed, all those investors.
Orange, that's got to hurt.
Big time. So, research is key.
Can't just go on gut feeling alone.
Definitely not. Our source really stressed understanding those market cycles. Real estate, it tends to go up, then stagnate, maybe even dip a little.
So you got to time it, right?
If you can spot where you are in that cycle, you get a better idea of when to buy, when to sell, potentially.
It's a waiting game, not a get-rich-quick scheme.
Exactly. Patience is key. And that actually brings us to another point from the source. Leverage.
Okay.
Powerful tool. But it can also be risky if you're not careful.
All right, so leverage, break it down for me. What are we talking about here in terms of real estate?
Simply put, it's using borrowed money, usually a mortgage, to buy that property.
Okay.
The idea is you use that borrowed money to potentially amplify your returns. Let me give you an example.
Okay, so walk me through this. Let's say there's a property, it's worth, I don't know, $200,000. How does leverage work in that situation?
Okay, so you've got your eye on this $200,000 property, right? Let's say you put down a 20% down payment, which would be $40,000.
Okay.
So you take out a mortgage for the rest, the other $160,000. Now imagine that property value goes up.
Which is the hope, right?
Exactly. Let's say it increases by a healthy 10% over the next year.
So now it's worth $220,000.
You got it. You've made a $20,000 profit.
Nice.
Here's where the leverage magic comes in. Remember, you only put down $40,000 of your own money.
Right, right.
That $20,000 profit, that's a 50% return on what you actually invested.
Whoa, that's way better than the 10%.
That's leverage, baby. It amplified your gains.
But there's always a but.
There's always a but. You're right. What if the market had gone down instead, say by that same 10%?
Oh, okay. I see where you're going with this.
Property's now worth $180,000. You've lost $20,000, which is a 50% loss on your initial investment.
So it amplifies the losses just as much as the gains?
Yeah.
Exactly. Double-edged sword, this leverage thing.
Okay, so what's the takeaway for our listeners? Because it sounds like leverage is a powerful tool.
Oh, incredibly powerful.
But you really got to know what you're doing.
You really do. Understand those risks. Don't just chase the gains without thinking about the potential downsides,
Right. It's all about balance, finding that sweet spot between risk and reward.
Absolutely. And, it's not just about how much financial risk you can handle. It's also about you.
Personally.
Yeah. Can you handle being a landlord? Because that's a whole other thing.
It's not passive income, really, is it?
It can be in ideal situations, but you got to be ready to deal with tenants, maintenance, all that fun stuff.
So as we wrap up here, we've covered a lot of ground. What are some things that our listeners should really be asking themselves as they're, thinking about these different real estate strategies?
I think the biggest one is, what really fits your goals? Not just financial goals, but lifestyle too, right? Do you want to be a landlord? Or are you more comfortable with a hands-off approach? Even if it means maybe riding out some of those market ups and downs.
Exactly. There's no right or wrong answer. It's about what works for you.
It's about knowing yourself, knowing what you want, and then doing your research so you can make those informed decisions.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing all of this amazing info about real estate.
My pleasure.
And to everyone listening, we hope this deep dive has given you the knowledge and the confidence to navigate the world of real estate investing. Until next time, happy investing.